company electric car drivers. Make sure your tax code's correct. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here again. This is a very quick one. So when I was away on the cruise last week, I checked my email and I'd got an email from HMRC saying there'd been a change to my tax code. Now I knew this was coming because, as you know, I've recently taken delivery of the Tesla Model 3 and I've done it on a company salary sacrifice scheme, which means there's a small benefit in kind to pay, a small amount of company car tax, if you like. Now for tax year 2021, the rate was 0%. For this current tax year, 21-22, it's 1%. And then for next year, up to 24-25, it's 2%. Now, different ways you can do this. If you had an electric car last year and your employer has just notified HMRC, they have to do it by July on a P11D, you might find that you've got a tax adjustment for last year. Now that applies to things like private medical care, all sorts of things. You can also do it on a P46, which is what we've done for mine, which means that I pay my tax on my Tesla for this tax year. So this tax year, it's 1%. So what I'm saying is just make sure your tax code looks correct. When I opened up my app, and you can get the HMRC app, it's really good, I really recommend it because you can keep track of estimated income and your national insurance record and all sorts of things. As soon as I opened that app, I knew they had made a mistake. Now, if I can show you what it said, it basically said that my new tax code for this current tax year was going to be K216X. Now, straight away, and I think I've talked about this in the past, if you ever see a K on your tax code, it means it's negative. It basically means you are going to pay tax on more money than you're actually earning. So basically they've said, look, you have untaxed income, which is more than your tax-free amount. This has been added to your pay, blah, 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 blah. 216, £2,160 needs to be added to your pay or pension so the extra tax can be collected. So effectively, I'm paying tax on money that I'm not even earning. And that's what happens with a negative tax code. And when I remember now, I think the video I did was when I was looking at an electric car versus I think it was a 520 diesel BMW company car. And because the benefit in kind tax was so high, 31%, it actually meant that if you took on one of those cars and you had a normal tax code, you would end up with a negative tax code by the time that benefit had been added on. Now, because I know that the benefit in kind tax for my electric Tesla this year is 1%, I knew that that was wrong. So let me try and explain what they've done. If we just nip over to this spreadsheet here, not that spreadsheet, let me just change something for a second. Bear with me. Let me just change to that. There we go. Right. So the P11D value of my Tesla is £49,350. So for a full year, the benefit in kind amount that's added to my taxable pay, if you like, or taken off my tax code is £493.50. Okay, so effectively, if you had a tax code of the standard for this year, which is 1257L, so basically 12570, you take off 494, probably rounded up, and your tax code would now be 12076. So you're paying tax £494 earlier. And that's why I knew my tax code was wrong. So, however, what you have to remember is because we're doing it in the current tax year, I took delivery of my Tesla on the 27th of May, so not the 6th of April. So basically what we need to work out is how many days of this tax year have I had that car for. Basically, I haven't had that car for 51 days of the year. So if we take 27th of May from the 6th of April, we get 51 days. There are 365 days in a year. 365 minus 51 is 314. So I will effectively have had that benefit for this tax year for 314 days. So my benefit in kind is actually 314 365ths. I hope you're following this. 365 days in a full year. We've only had the car for 314. So we do that bit of maths. 314 divided by 365, which is 80.86 or 86%. Multiply that by the benefit, which is 49350. 424. So the amount that should have come off my tax code is £424, effectively. Let me show you what they'd got. 10,189 was my car benefit. Okay, so they basically looked at this and went, okay, well, this is from August, so you've got May, June, July and August. What they do is they kind of work out, and I'm not going to go into the maths behind this because it's quite complicated, but they basically say, well, you haven't paid enough tax so far this year because you've had this car worth £10,189 benefit and you haven't paid enough tax. So they basically worked out that I owed them, I think, £1,000 in tax. So they did a bit of jiggery-pokery and worked out that to recoup that £1,000 that I've already not paid them up until August, they're going to have to take £4,000 off my tax code and take off the 10,189 and take off my medical insurance, which is already accounted for anyway. And that's why I ended up having a negative tax code. We had 12,570 less 10,189 less my medical, less another 4,000 because I effectively owed them £1,000. So that's why I had a negative tax code. So where did they get 10,189 from? Well, basically, they'd used the wrong benefit in kind percentage for that car. For some reason, even though the car declared to HMRC was electric and it was a Tesla, they had it down as being a petrol/hybrid and not an electric. And if we work out what they'd done, so if we take this lot, HMRC had 10,189. Where did they get that from? Well, remember, 10,189 is a pro rata amount for this tax year. Again, 314 days, not 365. So if we take 10,189 and we work out what it would be for the full year, hope you're following this. So all I've done there is I've divided 10,189 by, I'm trying to remember what I've done. No, I haven't. I've multiplied 10,189 by 365th 314s, if you see what I mean, to get a full year. So the opposite of what we did before, 314 365ths, we're multiplying this amount that they had by 365 divided by 314 to get it a bit bigger. We get a full year benefit in kind of 11,844. So if I'd have had this Tesla, or whatever this car is that's given that amount, for the full year, the rate would be 11,844. So all we need to do is work out what that amount is as a proportion or as a percentage of the full P11D value of 49,350. And if we do that, it comes out at 23.99999%. So 24%. So effectively, HMRC had applied a benefit in kind rate for my Tesla of 24% rather than 1%. So that's why I'm saying just check your tax codes. If anybody's had a car from last year and it might only be appearing on your tax code now because it's been done retrospectively for the last tax year, just make sure that your rate is showing 0, because obviously it was 0% last year, and not 24%. And if it's this year and it's being done on a P46 as you get the car, so you're paying this tax year, which means you haven't got a tax to pay next year for this year, if you see what I mean. Just make sure it's 1% and not 24%. And like I say, all it was that for some reason they had it down as a petrol/hybrid and not as an electric car. It's very easy, and I was surprised how easy it was to make the change. Go onto the app, go to amend car details and change it to electric. it'll say, I think, diesel, electric or petrol hybrid. Change it to electric, hit submit, and literally overnight my tax code was corrected and I got a new notification and everything's now fine. But if I hadn't have checked it in time, I would have probably found that my money this month would have been hundreds of pounds down on what it should have been. So always check your tax code, always keep up with your taxes, because mistakes can happen. I hope that was useful and I hope it wasn't too complicated. As always, please subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Give this video a like. You can get a copy of the PCP spreadsheet or the salary sacrifice spreadsheet for a one-off donation of £10 each. And I will see you very soon for more of the PCP stroke lease kind of series. Thanks for your suggestions. Please keep sending them in. I'll try and get through them all. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.